Hello guys, and in my videos I like to introduce you to the things that are ordinary for Ukrainians now and are still unfortunately extraordinary for you. So we definitely have a very extensive military vocabulary that we use in our everyday conversations. Just a war ago, I was very normal. I hated military things, and of course, I knew nothing about different kinds of missiles. And today I had to learn a new term, scalp, and honestly, I don't mind as long as the reasons why I learned these names are good, like the destruction of another big military camp of Russian invaders on the territory of the temporarily occupied Luhansk. For those who don't know, just like me, what Scalp is, this is another name for a Storm Shadow missile type when constructed in France. And as a Ukrainian, I promise I'm ready to learn the name of this missile in any language of our allies as long as you keep providing them for us. So let me tell you more about this successful military operation of Ukrainian armed forces and scalps in Luhansk. Also, today is the anniversary of President Zelenskyy presidential period, and also a sad anniversary of Azovstal defenders having to leave the plant and get into Russian captivity. So let me tell you more, and a bonus track about the Iranian president, and it seems like nobody feels super sorry for him, and there are reasons. My name is Anna, and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of the brutal Russian invasion. So if you're new to the channel, you support Ukraine, please subscribe and help us fight against Russian propaganda and fake news. And my longtime friends, check your subscription status and hit notification button. Well, Russians also have to learn a lot of new terms in English and in French when they have to report what particular missiles destroy their military objects. And today it was a Scalp, which is a French-British production, and this missile destroyed a very big military camp and military base in temporarily occupied Luhansk. And a month ago, we have destroyed another command point there, neutralizing a lot of Russian top officers there. So hopefully, sometime soon, Luhansk, Donetsk, and of course Crimea will return back to Ukraine. And honestly, I think that Crimea will come back first, and then it will be more difficult to feed the invaders on other territories, and they will have to leave. And once again, as a Ukrainian, I'm super grateful that you expand our vocabulary and our ammunition, and we use it effectively. Sometimes I am a bit anxious that we cannot use these long-range missiles to target Russian troops that are preparing to invade Ukraine somewhere really close to the border in Belgorod region, for example, because all the intelligence services report there are 10,000, 30,000, 40,000 of newly mobilized people, not people, sorry, people don't do such crimes, bodies that are ready to come to Ukraine and turn into good Russians, but we cannot target them while they are on the territory of Russian Federation. I know that President Zelenskyy was asking the decision makers in the United States to review this. I'm also constantly watching Jake Bro's videos, and he states maybe sometime soon this ban will be taken away, and of course this will bring great changes to the way we protect our territories, because unfortunately now we are allowed to let them enter, let them erase the infrastructure, civilian buildings, people's lives in cities like Vovchansk, for example, and only there we can target them, turning our own territory into a battlefield, which is very, very wrong and goes according any logics. Remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel to demonstrate your solidarity and help us spread more information about Ukraine. And today is the fifth anniversary of President Zelensky's term, and actually this was the moment of his inauguration. And if you look at the photos of him 5 years ago, and now you will see that this is a different man. He's experienced a lot, he aged a lot, but that's understandable, but definitely he has learned a lot. And I hope in that time when we win, he will be able to get back to his normal lifestyle and share more with political leaders of the world, because I'm sure there are a lot to learn from us and of course from this other people, because this is a constant exchange of experience, philosophy and knowledge. Of course, if you're not Russia, because Russia hates everyone, looks for enemies everywhere, apart from inside in the Kremlin. And also many people, there were discussions whether we should have elections this year or not. Many of them were actually brought by Russian propagandists who want to describe Zelenskyy as a dictator, but 98% of people in Ukraine do not want elections now, and this is physically impossible. Or let me remind you why. Well, first of all, because 1/3 of the territory is occupied, millions of Ukrainians are abroad, and all of our voting points will definitely be attacked during the voting day. To organize it electronically is impossible. For the first time in Ukrainian history, to conduct such a reform is difficult, plus, you know, Russia's hacking attacks. And literally it will be impossible for other candidates but Zelenskyy to have tours, to have their campaigns. And another very important reason, no one is ready to spend that much money. And it is according to our law and according to our constitution that in times of martial law, actually you don't have any elections. And if you look back in your histories, if you look back in the times of the Second World War, for example, you will realize it's a totally common practice. And believe me, in Ukraine we have very active society, and if people were dissatisfied, they would definitely react. Let me know, what do you think about Zelenskyy now after 2.5 years of invasion, when he actually became famous as the very strong leader of the country, of even stronger country. And today is also a sad anniversary, 2 years since Ukrainian defenders left Azovstal. Many of them got into captivity and remain there, which is very tragic. Russians treat very bad these bravest people of the Ukrainian army, and to conduct negotiations with them about their release or exchange of these prisoners of war is really difficult. And almost every weekend in Kyiv and many other regional cities of Ukraine, you will see lots of protests with people carrying photos, carrying messages from their loved ones who are now prisoners of war in Russia. And it's always bad to be a prisoner of war, but to be a prisoner of war in Russia is perhaps one of the worst experiences that a person can go through. And at the same time, the majority of news today are about the Iranian president who encountered a mountain with his helicopter. And well, you have to speak about the deceased well or nothing. That's what we say in Ukraine, so perhaps I should remain silent, because there is nothing good we can tell about him. I read a bit on Wikipedia in the morning, learning that his sins and crimes, they are not marked only by the recent years, but even back in the 80s, he was responsible for the execution of many good people fighting for democracy in Iran. And actually, I feel really sorry for this country, once modern, once open, and now suffering such a serious dictatorship. And Iran is the greatest supporter of Russia, providing them with missiles and Shahed drones. Shahed drones are evil. They've caused a lot of tragedies in Ukraine. And sanctions don't work because societies like Iranian, like Russian, they don't care much about the well-being of their own countries. They care about this destruction that they can spread around. And honestly, I feel very sorry for all the countries that have to border such dictatorships. I understand you guys a lot. Remember to check our merch shop. We have a huge sale there. minus 15% to celebrate the victory of a Ukrainian boxer who has become an absolute champion, world champion, Alexander Usyk. And we have a new beautiful t-shirt design, so the link is in the description of this video. Also join me on Instagram. I share more of everyday Ukrainian life there. On X and Threads, I typically express my anger and concerns, so do join me there. And we have a beautiful Discord community. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me film more. This is a blessing, and thank you so much for standing with Ukraine during these challenging times, and I'm sure that together sometime soon we will celebrate Ukrainian victory. Slava Ukraini!